Said he's doing a little, physical stuff in practice with the coaches, but nothing like that. At this point, there's not really any scrimmages. So it's really hard for him to test himself. He still has a brace on his hand. He came to their wink-wink practice, as they do for us media. Like they give us the window dressing practice.
Mm-hmm.
And he didn't take any shots. He just kind of dribbled around a little bit and just went in the back. So, I talked to Kevin Love about whether or not he would play. And we're talking about a guy that averaged 20 points and 3 threes a game. And everybody's saying that he's in really, really good spirits. But even Kevin Love was like, he's making it sound great. Says he's in great spirits. But he said, I know what it's like. I missed too much of the 2015 finals against the Warriors. So, you can put on a happy face, but not being out there, knowing that you may not get there again, it's got to be really hard. So, to me, this is the Nuggets series to win.
And I totally agree with you.
I don't see the Heat, figuring anything out. Unless, like I told you guys last week, if they could figure out a way for the Serbian army to get Joker to go back to service, I think that's their only hope right now.
Yeah, I can't count them out just because of what they did against Milwaukee and Boston. But I agree with you. And I don't know how you feel. I don't feel like the Nuggets have really played their best offense yet.
Oh.
They played 3 games now, and we still haven't seen the Nugget offense we saw a lot of the time during the regular season, where they're throwing up a $118, $120, $125. Like Murray's had a couple good games. Joker's had 3 good games. Nobody else has really done much. Like, they don't even have their full complement of players firing on all cylinders right now.
Yeah, and while Joker and Murray are playing well, Michael Porter Jr., he's had his struggles.
Yep.
And I just don't think, and I got 2 Nuggets guys here. I'm not going to say their names. I just want to see their reaction. Have you guys played their best game yet? They're like, hell no. Yeah, he said they haven't really hit threes well yet. So, Brown, the other Brown, the rookie Brown, I thought he helped.
Great.
But they, if you look at the clip from Jeff Green, who I'm writing about for a story tomorrow, he was mic'd up last game, and he had this incredible clip where he's screaming at his teammates about finishing the game. And it doesn't matter who you are, he'll say something. He screamed at Jamal Murray about not finishing the game. I think it was in regard to a play in which he stepped out of bounds. And I feel like the Nuggets didn't finish the game they've needed to in each of these 3 games. Mm-hmm. And if they had, if they would have had a solid effort all the way through, and maybe it's their use, that they'd be up 3-0 right now, and we'd be talking about a potential sweep. And though they're certainly probably kicking themselves about game 2, because it just, to me, is no question that they are the better team.
Talking to Mark Spears, ESPN and Anscape on the UMA guest line. Aaron Gordon, man. I always pay attention to him because he's a local guy. His numbers, obviously, he's not the big superstar player, scoring wise, that we kind of thought he was going to be. He was the big high flying dunker. But what he's doing for this Nuggets team, he's kind of I don't want to call him their Draymond, but he's kind of their glue guy. He'll sort of do whatever you need him to do. He'll grab a board. He's efficient. He plays hard. I've thought he's been fantastic playing complementary basketball to what the other guys can do. He doesn't need to be the center point or the focal point of attention. And it sort of reminds me of and not the same type of player or the same impact necessarily, but when Andrew Wiggins came here and he didn't have to be the superstar, when he doesn't have to be the face of the Orlando Magic like he was down there and turn a franchise around, I think it allows guys to play more free. I just think he's been fantastic throughout the postseason, but specifically last night, he was great.
Well, he's been certainly amazing defensively, and we'll probably have to put him in the all-defensive category after that, maybe even a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. I mean, what he's been able to do, every single round of the playoffs, guarding the best guy. It's so long. Who'd y'all play in the first round? Yeah, he had Karl Anthony Towns in the first round. He had Kevin Durant in the second round, LeBron, AD, and now he's guarding Jimmy Butler. Like, come on, man. That's super versatile. And I think he's really found a home in Denver. He's very comfortable there. I could see it even being a place where when he's done playing that he still lives. He just loves it there that much. To build a home. And I think he's also realized that, you know what, I don't have to be – it takes guys a while, but knowing where your strengths are, knowing that defense is now a strength, and playing with these two guys, these two superstars, he just seems extremely comfortable, and not only his role, but just his life as an NBA player now. He's not worried about the dunk contest. He's not worried about being a superstar. He's worried about winning. And he told me this offseason, I think after losing to the Warriors last year, kind of went into a little depression. And his work ethic was certainly much different. His sister said he didn't go out to nightclubs or anything like that. He just did everything at the house. And you certainly could see it this year because we're talking about him in a light that we have never talked about him before.
Well, since you got a couple Nuggets guys there with you, ask him how the hell every Jokic shot can hit the rim and it hits it like the rim's made of foam and just falls in every time. How the hell does that happen?
They said, how is Jokic shot so soft? Like, why? He said he has a great touch. That's it?
I know that. I got that part. I figured that one out on my own.
He said it's a God-given gift.
I guess. I mean, it's amazing, isn't it? I mean, you've seen a ton of basketball.
The other guy said, I want to find a coach that can teach touch. You can't teach touch.
It's absurd. It really is. I mean, some of the stuff that he shoots, right? It's so soft. Like the softest shot I've ever seen. How many times did it hit the rim and just trickle in, or hit the backboard and trickle? It amazes me.
It's almost like he's shooting an inflatable beach ball or something like that. The way it hits the rim.
It's like the ball's made of water and it just hits and just kind of drips into the bucket. Now he is one of the. I mean, he's already a Hall of Famer, isn't he? I mean, damn near. I talked to Dan Issel the other day. You definitely know who Dan Issel is, the horse. Yes.
Second all-time leading scorer in franchise history. And he said he's the best player in franchise history already. And I'm like, already? And he's like, already, yeah. So in terms of, like, what you're talking about, I think in terms of great conversation, it comes with championship, too. Like,
yes.
It seems inevitable. He will get it, but crazier things have happened. So I got to see him win a championship first before I'm start putting him next to the Magics and the Jordans and the LeBrons and the Kareems and the Wilts and the Shaqs and the Kobe's, right? But he's knocking on the door of it.
Yeah,
he's knocking on the door of it, and I for one will tell you this: I need to give him more respect. He's a bad man. Bad dude, man.
He's incredible. He's the best passing big man I think I've ever seen. I mean, I think he's a better passing big man than Sabonis. I didn't see Sabonis as much when he was young. I would have loved to have seen him when he was healthy. Walton, I didn't get to see as much, but I've seen all the highlights. I mean, he's a great passer, too. Yeah. This guy takes it to another level. I mean, we're talking about a center who's the best passer in the league. In the league. Yeah. I mean, go ahead.
No, finish.
No, I was going to say Andy doesn't get enough credit for how improved he is on defense over the last couple years, too.
And actually, he was sensational on defense yesterday.
Yep.
I think they may have shot 20% against him, like 3 or 14 or something like that. So it's like, okay, you really can't hate on anything now if he's defending like that. And so I saw him in the Hoop Summit. I'm not sure what year it was. Probably was like 2013 or something like that. And I just remember watching him play before he came to the NBA, and my eyes were telling me that this dude was nice. The way he was passing, the way he was rebounding, the way he was making all those crazy shots. He was doing that 9 years ago. I saw it, but I was like, But my eyes were also telling me that he's not athletic. He can't run. Can't get, he's out of shape. But I do remember when he got drafted by the Nuggets, I'm like, how did he fall that far? Because from what I saw at the Hoop Summit, he definitely, even though he didn't match the eye test, I thought he was the best player there.
Yeah. Hey, before we let you go, are you in the back of the boat or the front of the boat?
I'm in the middle.
In the middle? Is there any way you can walk all the way to the very, very front of the boat and like lean over and go, anything is possible? or you want me to do that Titanic thing?
King of the world?
No, I don't want you to do that. That is not what I want you to do.
You got to have some hands on your hips, though. Somebody's got to be behind you holding you up.
Yeah. No, I'll pass on that.
Okay, fantastic. Well, enjoy the rest of the day. Reception was fantastic, and I think that's the first time I've ever talked to anybody on a boat. Well done, Mark. Always fun. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy some Barracuda tacos.
And shout out to the captain, man. He turned down the motor in order for you guys to hear me, man.
All right. Tell Captain Phillips we said thank you.
Thanks, Captain Phillips.
Appreciate it, man. All right, Mark. Have a good one, man.
All right.
Captain Jack Sparrow. Appreciate that, bro. All right. Mark Spears from the boat of Captain Crunch next to Farhan Zaidi, Giants president of baseball operations. We'll catch up with him after I let you know. You should be listening. You should be listening every day, 2 to 6. But specifically from now until 6 o'clock, when you hear the cue to call, be caller number 10 to the studio at 415-896-KNBR, and you're going to win 4 tickets to the Alameda County Fair, furnished by the Alameda County Fair. It's going to give you also reserved horse racing seats, the Alameda County Fair, June 16th to July 9th. It's happening at the fairgrounds in Pleasanton. Live horse racing returns. One of the biggest stakes, the Pleasanton Mile, plus delicious fair foods and nightly Big O Tires concert series, plus so much more. What's the cue to call, Tim?
Corn dogs, Jackie. Corn dogs for all these people.
Anytime between now and 6 o'clock, you hear that. Be caller number 10 to 415-896-KNBR, and you will win a family 4-pack of tickets, or you can buy tickets at alameda-county-fair.com. Giants sweep the Rockies. They're coming on home to take on the Cubs. We'll talk to Farhan Zaidi, Giants president of baseball operations, next on the Sports Leader. Rookie 49ers kicker Jake Moody joined Papa and the Waterboy today to discuss how he's adjusting to life in the NFL. It's still preseason. You can check out that podcast trending on the all-new KNBR app. Hey, what's going on, everybody? Adam Copeland back here. My good friend Steve Moskowitz hanging out on the line. Steve, the people always have questions, especially about serious things like if they can't pay their taxes. What do they do if that's the situation?
Call us. We'll take care of it for you. This is a very common problem. People just can't pay their taxes, whether it's just the current year or it's a bunch of years. And a lot of times things go with it, like people don't file their tax returns, they don't know what to do, it becomes a lifestyle. There's a lot of good options. Whether we make a deal and ask the government to let you just pay part and forgive the rest, or pay in monthly installments, or forgive the penalties, or just leave you alone for a while till you're back on your feet. And in almost all cases, we can do everything for you. You don't have to talk to the government, deal with them, have anything to do with them. We do the whole job. You can have a normal life and sleep the sleep of the innocent.
Let Steve take care of it for you. Thanks so much, Steve. Give him a call, 1-888-TAX-DEAL, or find him online at MoskowitzLLP.com.
brains behind the orange and black.
Check out the big brain on.
And now he brings his mind to our mic. This is the Giants Executive Show with President of Baseball Ops, Farhan Zaidi.
Sponsored by Redwood Credit Union. Visit them today at redwoodcu.org. And by Benjamin Moore Paints. Experience the Benjamin Moore retail difference at their independently owned authorized retailers today or at benjaminmoore.com.
On KNBR 104.5 FM and 680 AM, the sports leader.
Always fun to talk to Farhan Zaidi, especially after a sweep in Coors. I've been saying they don't normally play well there. I'm going to stick with that.
Do we have to leave Coors?
I'm going to keep sticking with that. They don't play well there. They just don't play well in Coors. What's going on, Farhan?
What's up, man?
Hey, no, it was a good series, and no matter how well you're playing, you always get pretty shifty in the ninth inning when you're protecting a 1-2 run lead. So Camilo did a great job closing the last two games, and yeah, great series for us.
How about the fact, other than Minaya, and I don't even really consider him a bullpen guy. He's kind of like a hybrid starter bullpen guy. If I don't put him in the bullpen didn't give up a run in the entire series in Coors. I mean, that is insane that the bullpen, other than him, and again, I'm not counting him because he's not a true bullpen guy, they didn't give up one run in 3 games. I mean, that's literally impossible.
Yeah, I mean, they just did a phenomenal job. They've been on a great run here the last few weeks, and we talk a lot about our playoff aspirations, and the win today and yesterday. Those are games that playoff bound teams win. The ability to script the flip on a game that really isn't going your way early, and to just stick with it and scrap a few runs and keep putting up zeros on the board. Those wins are huge, and again, the bullpen. We don't get back in those games unless the bullpen comes in and shuts the opposition down, which. They deserve huge credit for our ability to come back the last 2 days.
Well, I told Copes, I won't say the biggest play of the game because there's a bunch of big plays in the game, but I thought one of the biggest plays in the game happened in the first inning with the strikeout of Castro, because another hit, that's 6-1, and I'm not sure if Kapler lets him go through the order a second time. He gets that strikeout, then he gets Doyle out and gets out of the inning 4-1, and he gets to stay in the game.
Absolutely. I totally agree. And it was a little bit more notable yesterday, but, Conforto making that grab kind of saved Webby and saved that game. So you're right. Like, just the ability to stop the bleeding when you're having one of those Coors Fields innings, whether it's a big strikeout or a big defensive play, is huge. So I totally agree with you. Keeping them right there. Otherwise, it's just a totally different story. And we're probably using different pitchers, and there's probably just less of a confidence that you can come back.
Well, and that's what we were kind of talking about as we're talking to Farhan on the UMA guest line, is that Cobb going 5, like if he doesn't get out of that there and he gives up, I mean, maybe it becomes a 6 or a 7-run inning and it gets out of hand a little bit, then you got to go to the bullpen in the first inning. And then all that great favor you've curried in the first couple of days by saving the pen a little bit through Colorado can unravel quickly at the beginning of what's a long stretch here. So I thought that was key. He got a little nicked up today. Do we have a status? I know they said it was a did he have a strain in a glute or something? I know he stayed in the game. He looked like he was arguing with Greshner for a minute to stay in, and they left him out there.
Yeah, I mean, I was watching with everyone else, and definitely the last 2 or 3 pitches he threw, he looked like he was favoring it when he was kind of swinging his leg around, but the reports after the game is he was feeling better. We're hopeful that he can stay on turn and make his next start. That was probably more his competitive spirit than how he's feeling physically in the moment. But fortunately, it was trending in a good way after the game.
Yeah, that's a guy we need up at the top, and I know he moved up to make the start today. And so what's great about, I think, what's happened over the last month is when we talked to you at the end of, I think it was the end of April, going into May, or May going into June, actually, we were talking about what needed to be corrected. And I think there's a lot of things that have sort of stabilized, and they've sort of shown that they can. You talked about the come from behind wins. They've got more of an eclectic offense, I think, than for the first month of the season, where they're not relying on the home run. Didn't homer in the series until today. 8 doubles the other day, a suicide squeeze yesterday, which was fantastic. So I feel like sometimes when you can win different ways, you take pressure off of stuff that's not maybe performing as well. And I look at the starting rotation right now and I go, that's the one element that's a little bit unstable. Where are you guys going with guys like Stripling and Minaya? Is there a plan to map this out? I know we talked Kyle Harrison a little bit about the limited pitch counts in the minors, but what's the strategy or the thought process heading into the summer here with the rotation?
Yeah, obviously Webb and Cobb have done a great job for us at the top of the rotation. Desclafani's been solid. He's had, a couple more crooked numbers lately, but we love the fact that he comes in and throws strikes, and the way we're playing defensively and with his stuff, we think he's going to continue to throw the ball well. So, yeah, I mean, with Wood and Stripling on the IL, the 4th and 5th spots have been a little bit more up in the air. Minaya is sort of operating as a starter. I mean, he's giving us 4 or 5 innings every time he goes out there. We started opening for him just to take a little bit of the pressure off, and sometimes guys actually get into more of a groove and can kind of work their way into the game better behind an opener. And it's sort of one of those things where if it's working, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. There's some notion that if a guy pitches well, you have him go back to starting without an opener, and if he doesn't do well, then maybe the opener is screwing him up, and you go back to that. So, either way, you wind up trending back to that. But as long as Sean is pitching big chunks of the game, and he feels good about where he is, that strategy can help in a number of ways. We've seen a couple of games lately where we used an opener, and teams either committed to a certain lineup look early, and then wound up using pinch hitters very early in the game, and then didn't have moves to make later in the games. So it's just a tough thing to manage again. So, we may keep him in that role. We may get him back to starting. And then, to your point, Kyle Harrison, Tristan Beck, who's on the pitching staff right now, has done a nice job for us. We've got Sean Jelly and Keaton Wynn in Sacramento too. So we have some other options if Alex Wood and Ross Stripling take a little bit more time to get back. But, we have the depth options. We'd certainly love for somebody like a Kyle Harrison to come up and grab one of those spots and be pitching more at the front of the rotation than the middle or the back. But we'll just see how he does start. There's a lot of reasons to be optimistic, but we still think he's got a couple things to work on.
Did the computer start smoking a little bit on that squeeze play last night?
I loved it. I mean,
so did I. I thought it was awesome. It
was awesome.
Anytime you're bunting, whether it's for a hit or if it's a squeeze play with first and third, I mean, that's one of the hardest plays to defend in baseball. So, I'm not always on our 2 outs, nobody on bunt attempts. Even if you get a hit, it's I'm not sure where you're going with that. But any first and third situation with almost anybody up there, I love it because if you get the bunt down, you're almost definitely getting the run in. And it's hard to turn around and even get the out at first. So a lot of times, like the play yesterday, you wind up with everybody safe. So. I loved it, and the computer liked it too. So
good. I'm glad.
That was a good one all around.
I'm glad the computer liked it.
Checked in.
I don't want to get too far into the because I know I have a tendency to get too far into the analytics rabbit hole with you. It's kind of fun to talk about that kind of stuff. Yeah. But I do have some other stuff I want to ask. But I do want to ask you this because I just thought about it. Is there anything, because analytics are just numbers, and numbers are always changing, so the analytics can change from time to time. Is there anything like early on with the analytics that you guys thought this is the way to go about it, and maybe it's changed in the last 5-8 years or so, where it's like now you go about something maybe a little bit differently than you would have, or you think about something a little bit differently than you did 5 or 8 years ago? And if so, are there any examples of that?
Yeah, I think a good example of that is bullpen roles. There was sort of this movement towards closer by committee and, having a fully flexible bullpen and using guys at any point in the game. And, a lot of that was, quote unquote, analytically driven because there was a feeling like, hey, when you're up 3 runs in the 9th inning, is that a more important inning than when the game is tied in the 7th and the middle of the order is coming up? And so, there was this notion of, hey, let's use our quote unquote closer in the biggest spot in the game rather than just in the 9th. And that didn't have a happy ending for that narrative because relievers are like all baseball players are creatures of habit. They like to know when they're going to pitch. The team has confidence in a closer when you have someone established in that role like we have with Doval now. And, are there times when, it would be tempting to use Camilo, in the 7th inning with the bases loaded and nobody up and the middle of the order of the other team coming up? Sure. But, that winds up, I think everybody's found that's a little bit more disruptive than, maybe it looks like you're gaining an advantage on paper. So that's just one example that I can think of. And when you look at our bullpen now, you've got guys in certain roles. They pitch it. It's almost like when you're watching the game, you kind of can think along with Kappa on who's coming in.
Yeah, no, I think that makes perfect sense. And look, that would have made perfect sense if baseball players were androids and they didn't have emotions. You just throw them in there and you'd be good to go and it'd be easy. But yeah, the human emotion kind of gets in the way of it a little bit. The one thing I did want to ask you about, because I'm curious about this, you guys got a little bit, I don't know if you have an issue with it because sometimes things tend to work out, but if Casey Schmidt is staying, which I'm assuming he is, but I don't know, you got Davis at 3rd, Crawford at short, Tyro at 2nd. How are you going to find enough playing time, enough at bats for all those guys? And where does the rub come? Does it come at shortstop with Schmidt, or does Schmidt kind of fill in for everybody and try to get at bats? How do you see that? Foresee it working itself out?
Yeah, I think it's been nice because it's given us an opportunity to give guys days off. And you look at somebody like Craw, we think that, keeping him fresh is really important. So, he's not at the stage of his career where he's a 140, 150 game guy anyway. Some of the other guys have been banged up at times. JD needs off days. Styro, obviously, just coming off of the wrist injury. And, that was one of the reasons we had Casey play even some second base before he came up, because we just thought, the more positions he can play, the more configurations that we can have around the infield, and feel like we have good defenders at every spot, the more different lineup looks we can have. So you've seen a lot of consistency in terms of our lineups, in terms of the guys batting in the, at the top of the order. We've had, Lamont and Thyro pretty regularly, and then you've got, some mix of Jock and J.D. Davis and Conforto and Haniger in the middle. And we've been batting some of the younger guys at the bottom of the order, even though they've been productive too. But I think just being able to get guys rest and rotate guys, I know Cap and the coaching staff like to think about lineups and who's playing on a series-by-series basis. So, if certain guys are playing 2 out of 3 instead of 3 out of 3, we think that's just going to help us in the long run.
Talking to Giants President of Baseball Operations, Farhan Zaidi, on the UMA guest line. So we woke up the other day, and there was a tweet from Jim Bowden who'd said you'd come on his show on MLB Network Radio and said that you'd plan to be, quote, aggressive. Nobody can find the audio. We can't hear it anywhere. I'm not certain it happened. We've been talking about, I guess anybody could have said aggressive. Did you do that interview, Farhan? Can we get a comment on the potential aggressive nature of you guys at the deadline? And I kind of want to talk about what a deadline looks like now with extra playoff teams. It's going to look a little different than it did a couple of years ago in 2021 when you guys were leading the division. First, what you said to Jim Bowden, and then we'll talk a little bit more deadline.
Yeah, if I say I didn't do the interview, will we just
we'll just move on? I have to take you at your word. I mean,
yeah. So it was interesting. We start off with a conversation about the trade deadline in general, what it's going to look like. You've got a lot of teams that are in the race, and with the expanded playoffs, it kind of tilts more towards the sellers than the buyers. You've got a lot of buyers out there trying to improve their teams, and not that many sellers. And when you look at the standings now, it doesn't look like there are going to be that many pure sellers around baseball. And then they're going to have limited inventory of guys that teams will view as players who could really impact a playoff race. So when asked about it, I mean, obviously gave the usual caveats that it's a long way away, but none of the caveats made it into Jim Bowden's tweet.
Yeah,
So,
I noticed that. It was all meat and potatoes in the tweet. It was pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but there's sort of two sides to it. One is, we're at a point now where we really want sort of the engine of this team to come from what we have in-house right now. I mean, when we look at guys like, Luis Matos, who's playing really well in AAA, we don't really have a spot for him right now. And I think, if he continues to produce, we may try to create one, but we've got a pretty deep team and deep roster. So, a lot of times at the deadline, you have teams that are trying to fill holes, that have injuries, and are just trying to address weaknesses at the roster. The true impact talent, isn't always available. And especially in a year like this year where I think, the buyer and seller balance, it might be a really tough market if you're looking to improve your team. So, if there are impact players available, I think we'll be in those discussions like every team that's intending to be in the playoff race. But, in terms of kind of the sixth inning reliever, back end starter types that, a lot of times wind up changing teams around the deadline, we have a lot of that depth in house, and we want to continue to give opportunities to young players. So I'm hoping that's where the kind of engine and the push to get to the playoffs comes from with this team.
When do you foresee Bart coming back? And when he does, do you foresee him, Sable, Bailey? I guess I could throw Schmidt in there too. All being on the roster for the foreseeable future, because there's going to be someone's going to have to leave when he comes on, or do you foresee him when he's ready, even coming up?
Yeah, I mean, we're going to have to see how Pat's doing. Obviously, he had this neck thing crop up, and that might make the decision for us. But we're going to probably meet with Joey tomorrow before the game and talk through the options. We've wanted him to take this opportunity to get some at bats and get going offensively. So definitely want to check in with him and see how he's doing there. But again, like we talked about, it's a crowded roster, and we could carry three catchers, but then somebody else is probably coming off the team, or you're going one pitcher short. So it's a tough call because I thought Blake did a great job today. Pat's obviously done a really nice job, and then Joey did a great job with the pitching staff earlier this season before he went down. So no decision made yet, but again, I think we had a bunch of guys come back over the last few days. The roster got pretty crowded, so it's going to make for a tough decision for us.
Yeah.
It's been great to see the lineup healthy. We were saying the other day, I don't know that there's one guy that I want up in any particular situation, because it's kind of a grinding lineup. Up and down, they're putting together good at-bats. I mean, Lamont at the top is like an assassin. He's like what Brandon Belt was doing up there, even better at times. And then you've got Pop from Tyro and multiple guys who can drive in runs. It's looking good up and down. I just want to follow up real quick on something you'd said about Luis Matos, and more of a general question, because you said if he keeps performing like this, we may have to make a spot for him. Guys who force their way onto rosters. Now, he's on the 40-man, right? It's a little bit different with him, where a spot wouldn't have to be created, so his path to the majors is a little bit different. But what's the threshold like that for you? I mean, not that if he hits 5 homers or does X, Y, and Z, but for a guy when you go, we don't necessarily have a spot, but this guy can help us right now at the big league level. It's not because of injury. It's because he's a better player than maybe some of the assets we have up here now. When do you come to that decision, and when do you sort of roll those bones?
Yeah, I mean, it's a really good question. It winds up, no matter what people say, it winds up being kind of circumstance related, injury related, as much as anything else. I mean, I look at what Luis is doing in Sacramento right now, and you can't help but be really excited. But some of the guys we've had on this team, Bryce Johnson and David VR and Brett Wisely, those three guys all have, believe it or not, higher OPS numbers than Luis does in Sacramento. So again, that's not to say that he couldn't come up and make a big impact, but we've got a pretty crowded outfield. We've got Mitch and Michael Conforto and Yaz and Jock and Slater. So we've got a kind of group that mixes and matches pretty well. I think it would probably take losing somebody for some period of time. But again, you never know. Different things can happen, and some of those guys can move around to different spots on the roster. So again, it's really exciting to see what he's doing. And one of the reasons we moved him up from Richmond to Sacramento was the fact that he was already on the 40-man roster. And when you're on the 40, you figure, hey, we want a guy, an hour and a half away when we need somebody. It's a quick call and they can get over to the big league game. So his performance, his potential, and being on the 40-man roster are all things in his favor.
Anything you've noticed in terms of DeSclafani the last handful of starts that maybe was different from the start that he got off to, where he had one of the best whips in the league and one of the best ERAs in the league? He's scuffled a little bit. Is it just season stuff that happens going through a season, or is there something that that a pitcher, whatever, isn't acting the way it was, or sequencing? Anything?
Yeah, I just think that teams are looking at his strike percentage and his low walk numbers, and they're thinking, hey, let's swing the bats early. And he had a couple of starts against some younger teams, some really aggressive hitting teams, where his strike throwing probably hurt him, if anything. I mean, we're always going to want guys that throw strikes, but the report's kind of out a little bit that this is somebody who's going to throw a ton of strikes, throw quality strikes, and it's probably going to get harder to hit him the deeper you get into an at-bat or a count. So swing early, and I think Tony knows that and is going to make the adjustment. Just being a little bit finer early in counts, knowing that guys are going to be aggressive. I know that's an adjustment that's already on his mind. I mean, we saw him early in the year. I thought his command of the slider was just unbelievable, both sides of the plate, and keeping it out of the hitting zone. And, I think he has it in mind to get back to that and be able to stay off barrels the way he was early on in the season. But, you'll always take the strike thrower over somebody that's, filling counts and walking guys. So, I'll take my chances with a strike thrower any day.
Farhan, always a pleasure. Thank you so much for the time, and we'll look forward to talking to you again in a couple weeks.
Absolutely. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Farhan.
Thanks, Farhan.
Great stuff. Giants president of baseball operations, Farhan Zaidi. Couple of interesting points there where he was like, somebody texted in on the text line and said, the relievers having a routine and knowing when they throw is something Jeremy Affeldt talked to us about, and many relievers have talked about with the analytics stuff. We've joked about the different buckets that they were putting pitchers in, and Tom, sometimes the save happens in the seventh inning. Tell that to the closer in arbitration, who didn't get credit for the save.
No,
and he's got a hold, which doesn't pay the same.
Well, again,
the conversion rate's not the same.
If they're all androids, it doesn't matter. Then you can pitch them whenever. Right. Like, who cares? But they're not. That's the thing I've always said about analytics. They forget the human emotion doesn't factor into it. The human element doesn't factor into it. And, you just can't take a closer and say, do the seventh. And you can't take a guy who used to pitch in the seventh and say, close it up. It's less stressful. But some guys can't handle that. So being a closer is a lot more it's about your stuff, no doubt, but it's about the heart rate and the head. Like, you got to have that mentality. Some guys have it, some guys don't. Some guys want that ball at the end of the game. They want to take that shot. Some guys don't want to take that shot. Some guys want the ball hit to them in key situations. Some guys are like, I'm good. You hit it over here. So it's all about mentality. That was something when they first started, I go, that's not going to work. You can't just throw whoever you want to in the ninth inning because it sounds good.
That's not how that works.
No, it's not. And guess what? That's not how it didn't work. It didn't work that way.
That's what I said. You know how I knew closer by committee wasn't going to work? Because teams have been doing it for like 100 years, and it doesn't work. Like, this wasn't a new closer by committee wasn't a new concept. It's like anytime a team lost their closer, they'd be like, well, we'll go to our eighth inning guy, but we can't use him every day. He's not the same guy. So we'll go to our seventh once in a while. Then you get a mop-up guy. We'll try him here. And that's why the buttons that Bruce Bochy pushed and had the ability to throw guys in different spots there and to go 3 different closers for all World Series was pretty incredible. We got a lot of good sound coming your way. A nice, beefy sound soiree plus an extra special sound segment after that. But we got some Bill Walton to get to from part 2 of the documentary where I guess it was a writer way back when. It took exception with maybe Bill's extracurricular activities with things
Tom, are you there? Hello?
Things he inhaled. We've got a whole bunch of great sound and a sound soiree coming your way. And then you do not want to miss what Stephen A. Smith had to say about the Zion Williamson saga. That's all coming up. It's Tolbert and Copes. Only here.
NBA, grab
that. No, it's not on these Sports Leaders. The Giants come back in back-to-back games against the Rockies to complete their second sweep of the season. 11 consecutive wins against Colorado going back to last year. Check out more on that story. It's trending on the all-new KNBR app.
is Tolbert & Co.'s Sound Soiree.
No, I've whipped up this nasty little soiree.
The best sounds you might have missed.
Soiree, what?
Soiree, honey. I think that means party.
On the Sports Leader.
Tolbert & Copes with you on a Thursday evening. Kind of nice to get a giant sweep in Colorado. Just have the night off. They're flying home, relaxing. We'll be out on the patio, by the way, tomorrow, 2 o'clock. Austin Slater is going to come hang with us at 2:15. Nice. Yeah, he had a nice series. Good for him.
Isn't Dave Fleming coming out?
Dave's supposed to come out. Boog Shambi. We're going to talk to him tomorrow. Who else do we have there, Derek? I think Marcus Thompson joins us for his weekly hit, and Jeremy Affeld. So we have a lot of good stuff tomorrow. Some of our favorite guests and some good baseball talk. We'll have beers. I'm going to get hammered tomorrow. Come on, watch me get toasted on the patio. Right. Oh, the bosses are all gone. I can say, you know what I mean? I'm like, whatever.
Yeah,
they're not here.
I'm in for it.
No school for me tomorrow. Dude, don't forget, that was was that a high school basketball game? Kid hits like a buzzer beater, they go nuts, and then the principal runs into the student section and tells them snow day tomorrow, and no school for me tomorrow. Then they storm the floor, and it wasn't enough to fill the floor. It was like one little pocket in the corner. Some sound soiree. We still got 2 more parts to come of the Bill Walton 30 for 30. I've only watched part 1, so this is from part 2. Correct. The piece of sound we got here from David Halberstam. Is that right, Tom? This is
David Halberstam.
Why don't you set this up? Because you've seen this and I haven't seen this
yet.
Yeah.
So David Halberstam is a very well-respected
Pulitzer Prize-winning
author.
journalist.
Yes, exactly. He's wrote some really, really big-time books, great sports books. I think he might have wrote one on the Bulls, too. But, yeah, he was on there. He was talking about, and this is probably, I don't know when, this probably was a clip from the 80s, I'm guessing, maybe. It looked old.
So I covered the Vietnam War. He covered the Civil Rights movement. Like, this guy was a hardcore, a newsman, you know?
Yep, absolutely. What's up, Pip? So he came on and was talking about, some people's thoughts on Walton and maybe why they weren't kind of connecting with him. And we all know that Bill smoked pot. I mean, that's a given. But the way he said it was just, I don't know if anybody said it this way back then, but I was just dying when I heard David Halberstam.
This is old footage. He's passed away. He's since passed, but this is old footage in the documentary of David Halberstam kind of passing judgment on Bill Walton for...
No, it wasn't him passing judgment per se. It was what people were saying.
Gotcha. He's reporting about what people were saying about him.
There were people in the they were like going into the like man on the street type deal, and they were asking people what they thought about Walton. And like one guy goes, yeah, there's a lot of people this, and they goes, yeah, maybe he'd be better off dead. I was like, what? They go, good. Oh yeah, they like a lot of people hated him because I mean that stuff was pretty.
Reefer Madness, man.
Oh my goodness! No, it was just all the stances that he took. Like that was like third rail type stuff right there back then. So, this is David Halberstam talking about maybe why some people didn't quite connect with Bill Walton.
This gifted athlete comes in with attitudes that are unconventional, even seemingly radical. His hair was long, he was hippie, it was known that he smoked the weed.
So you don't think there's anything contradictory about being a basketball player and a social critic? I'm just a person who happens to play basketball.
He brings a kind of innocence and all this political baggage while violating a basic law of sport America, which is thou shalt not speak out unless thou is playing at a championship level.
Now, I loved when he said smoked the weed.
Yeah, the weed was what it was. It's very Stephen A. Stay off the weed.
The weed. Smoked the weed.
Dude. Oh, man. All we were missing was dope.
The liquor.
Yeah.
That was hilarious.
The weed.
Smoked the weed, dude. Oh, man. This guy.
Oh, man. That was good
This
stuff.
guy's the guy at a concert. He's like, hey, they've got to exterminate the skunks at this venue. Like, he's the guy.
The weed.
He didn't realize what was, oh, man.
What's that smell? Is that the weed? Not just is it weed, is it the weed?
The weed. He smokes at the pot.
Perfect.
That's fantastic.
So
That's a good piece of sound. Good ear on you, Tom.
Yeah, that was
I love him too. The little one clip that he has of Bill too. He's like, I'm just I just a guy who happens to play basketball. He's like, he's got a sort of innocence to him.
Yeah,
I was like, what? Just asked him about it. He's like, yeah, I play hoops. That's all. That's not who I am. It's just what I do.
Smoked the weed.
That's fantastic. More from your sound soiree. How about Jeff Van Gundy? We had Jeff Van Gundy on the other night or the other afternoon. It was yesterday. We were talking to him about some of the rule changes that he had proposed sort of half-heartedly, and then he said he stood by him. Well, he pitched another rule change to Mark Jackson and Mike Breen last night during the game. Here's Jeff Van Gundy.
You're one of the greatest assist men in the history of the NBA, and sometimes this guy takes your breath away with some of his passes.
It's unbelievable. That's a big man making this play.
Can we all agree that you should get an assist on a foul if the free throws are made?
No, we can't all agree. Then what are you doing?
Why?
Because that's not how it's been counted historically.
Well, we used to not have the three-point shot.
We used to have two announcers.
And I know who would be the first guy not drafted.
Pope knocks down the free throw. It's back up to 16.
Mike Breen, dude, just getting the call in is fantastic. That was pretty quick from Mark Jackson there. Sometimes he takes a second,
but it was quick. But he was making Van Gundy's point for him.
Yeah, I know. He made the point
like
for
things
him.
change.
Yeah,
it's
things
like,
change.
bro,
That's my point,
thanks,
dude. Yeah.
Thanks for just making my point. You know what? That's not the craziest thing because I've thought the same thing for years. I'm like, if you make a great pass and a guy goes up for a layup and just gets hacked, like the defender has no chance to block the shot. He just hacks him.
I'm with Van Gundy on this, yeah.
If you make 2 free throws, why don't you get the assist?
You should
I've always
two.
thought you should get the assist. Now, the point that Mark brings up is like historically, it's going to change some things, but then Jeff brings up a good point. Well, what do you think the 3-point shot has done? Like all those scoring records now? Like I remember when Clay got 37 points in a quarter. That was like 7 more than I think Wilt got. I think Wilt was 30 points in a quarter, 31, something like that. That was the record. That was without any threes. I think eight of Clay's field goals were threes. I'm not taking anything away from him. It's just different. You can get more points now. You can acquire more points now than you used to be able to.
In
because
flurries.
they didn't they didn't have that option. Everything was a 2 back then. So, I mean, things change, but you can't go back and try to say, okay, we got to take away all the 3-pointers that he made and take away all that from his points and only give him 2 on those when you come to – it's just, the game changes and it's different. I don't think they'd ever do it because – hey, what do you do if he makes 1 free throw? Get a half an assist?
Well, you should. I think it works. I think it has to be both. I think because if it's an and one, you get the assist anyway because he made the bucket, right?
Correct.
Right. So if it's an and one, you get the assist anyway. To me, it would work like an infield hit in baseball, where like for example, today Blake Sable drops down that bunt. He beats it. He might not have even beat it out, but they didn't give an error to the pitcher. They gave him credit for a hit because the pitcher would have had to make a pretty spectacular play to get him out at first, and you can't assume a spectacular play. In my mind, in this scoring, you would not be able to assume the guy makes the shot, so you've got to make both free throws in order to get the assist, would be the way I'd do it. So if you don't get half an assist, you just don't get credit for the assist if he splits the free throws. You toss it to Shaq down low, he gets hacked, and he splits them, you don't get the assist. I wonder how much it would change. I wonder how much it would change records. Probably not a ton. Probably, I don't think it would affect that much, really, because how many and ones anyway are getting credited for assists? I don't think it would alter that much. Really
I don't think it would alter it that much. A few here and there, but yeah, you make a great pass, the guy gets hacked, and he makes 2 free throws. He got those 2 points because of your. He made the free throws,
right?
But you set him up
because of his
to
pass.
get those 2 free throws. You set him up to get those 2 free throws. So yeah, I mean that one I have thought about, and
assists are stupid now anyway. Guys can dribble 3 times and get after they catch the ball, and then it's real liberal. I feel like how they dish out assists now anyway. From what it used to be.
The home score can. I always used to think John Stockton started with 3 assists before the game tipped off. Like, how's he already at 15 assists already? You kidding me? But whatever. I mean, can he dribble once? Can he dribble twice? Does he have to go straight to the bucket? Does he have to go straight up and shoot it? Who knows?
Sometimes
like
they create a shot and they get fast break points. It's
like, what's a
arbitrary.
fast break point? Who the hell knows what a fast break point is? I don't know who does those.
What's a clear path foul? I'm still trying to figure that one out.
That I don't know what a clear path. I kind of know, but I don't have any idea.
It's like a balk. Yeah, it's a obscenity. I'll know when I see it.
Or a take foul.
A take foul, dude.
Yeah.
Dead cap money. Explain that to me. Here's Adam Silver. Was on the Dan Patrick Show. This is interesting. Talking about the John Morant stuff. So remember last week before the finals, Adam Silver said we won't make an announcement until after the finals are over. It's the biggest stage for the NBA. We want to wait until it's all said and done. He then checked in today on John Morant's camp claiming, and this is bad, John Morant's camp now is claiming that the gun he flashed in that second video was a toy gun. Then why do you apologize a second time? Here's Adam Silver.
We are waiting for the finals to be over. I'm aware, of course, of these reports on social media about, whether the gun was in fact a gun. And so we haven't completely wrapped it up.
Does that matter, Commissioner, if that's a toy gun?
It's interesting. It's the very issue is for Ja, certainly in the first incident, was treating a gun as a toy. I mean, that's what we're talking about. And that's what I think the danger is to society, taking a gun, live streaming it, this is without getting into gun issues in terms of the propriety of owning guns and the use of guns. I think everyone agrees that gun safety is critically important and that guns aren't toys. So it's something that I'm thinking a lot about because, again, I'm not going to get into the specifics of the investigation, but in fact, if you are live streaming something that to the world looks exactly like a gun in a frankly reckless manner, should it matter?
It's pretty ironic that the first gun he flashed looked like a toy. Remember that he was like holding it between his index finger and his thumb, and then this one like looked like a gun. They're like, no, this was the toy. The last one, that was a real weapon. I'm with Silver here. It doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter.
It does not matter.
You walk into a bank with a spray painted water gun that looks like a gun, and you hold it up. You still robbed a bank at gunpoint. Yes. You can pretend to have a weapon, and they'll say you did it at gunpoint or at knife point or whatever. It doesn't really matter whether or not it's real if you're using it as a threat. And if that's the perception, why flash it? Like what's the perception you're trying to show if you're flashing a toy gun after you've been in trouble for flashing a real gun that looked like a toy? It's a mess, man.
It shouldn't make any difference. In fact, you ought to suspend him more for trying to get everybody to believe it was a real gun and to be dumb enough to have a toy gun acting like it's a real gun. Like if it was a toy gun, you should have told everybody. You should have showed everybody this is a toy gun. No. I mean, this guy's a mess.
Didn't we have a story in the Soup du Jour 2 days ago about somebody who robbed a bank with a Duck Hunt Nintendo gun?
Yes. Correct.
Pretty sure that was armed robbery.
But I don't think it was the orange one or the blue one.
I think they spray painted it, didn't they? I think they spray painted it to make it look real. I was like, it's a real long barrel on that.
Correct.
On that Duck Hunt gun you're walking around. What's that black cord dangling off of it, too? That's weird.
Well, when you squeeze the trigger, it goes, wah.
There you go. Yeah. I don't think any of this matters. I think this is a piss-poor attempt yet again by John Morant's camp.
Yes.
So this is
terrible.
You got to get some better people, man. You got to get some better people, John.
It's not a good camp.
Mike McDaniel, Miami Dolphins head coach. Yeah, that guy, dude. We're getting more NFL coaches back. I'm excited for NFL head coach sound. This is going to be fun as we get into the summer here. Mike McDaniel, you hear about this? The Minnesota Vikings, I guess, have notified Dalvin Cook of his release, but I think they're trying to trade him first or something, which tells me that they told him, we'll try to trade you. And his agent said, well, let's just say they're releasing you, and then we can go wherever the hell we want, because nobody's going to trade for you if they know you're a free agent. They asked Mike McDaniel, do the Dolphins want Dalvin Cook?
March 3rd, 1983. That day I was born, right? Now we take a closer look at that date, and that, in fact, was not yesterday. Okay, so people that are rumored to be tall, short, people that are rumored to be, that's you're not going to get this guy. I'm year 2, okay?
What? He has the same job as Bill Belichick, by the way. Bill Parcells, Bill Belichick, Bill Walsh, all the same job. Same job.
Oh, no. So
what is he talking about?
I have no idea. I thought where he was going to go. He didn't go where I thought he was going to go. Like, I thought he would say, "You think I was born yesterday?" I'm not answering that. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And then he just kind of...
He tried to say that, I think.
Yeah, I think that's where he's going, but I'm not sure if he got there.
Rumored people are tall or short. What was he talking about? This guy's a trip. I like him more and more by the minute, man. Every time I hear him.
He's wild.
Every time I root for him. I'd like him to be. It's just harmless. Again, a lot of 49ers down there and McDaniel.
Right?
Yeah, right. Exactly. One more.
I would imagine a lot of teams will want Dalvin Cook. And Dalvin Cook can still play.
Yeah.
I don't know what the salary cap hit is for the Vikings. Maybe that's why they want to get rid of him. And
Alex Madison's
Madison.
He's basically the exact same guy. He's a carbon copy almost. Of
but somebody's going to get better. I still think he's got at least something in the tank where he can, share the backfield with somebody.
One more here from an NFL head coach, Andy Reid. So the Chiefs went to the White House. When you go to the White House, you get a meal. Andy Reid loves his meals. Andy Reid did a breakdown and went over the entire White House spread that the Kansas City Chiefs got to eat. Here's head coach of the Chiefs, Andy Reid.
A French toast, grilled cheese, and ham sandwich that they sprinkled a little bit of powdered sugar on. I mean, it was phenomenal. The guys were, and there was abundance of this, and then they had chicken fingers, exotic chicken fingers, and then maybe the best part was they had, which I hadn't seen before, but little bite-sized squares of the heart of the watermelon.
It's chicken.
Oh, I've never seen this before. Little bite-sized squares of the heart of the watermelon.
Wow, that's tremendous. How do they do that?
Exotic chicken fingers.
What are exotic chicken fingers, by the way?
It's probably just like really good, like high end. Like they battered
Cajun,
them. They battered them right there. Yeah. They weren't frozen Tyson.
Exotic chicken fingers.
Chicken strips.
Exotic chicken fingers.
Andy was into that, dude. He was liking that. That's hysterical. He was like, seriously, what's a watermelon? Anybody?
Maybe the breasts weren't breaded.
Exotic
chicken. They're exotic. I don't know.
Speaking of breasts, that's going to take us to our next topic. We'll do that on the other side. Stephen A. Smith. Our last time we heard from him, he was talking breast milk. We told you about the Zion Williamson saga yesterday that hit social media, where announced he was having a baby. Then an adult film actress came out and apparently had been having a relationship with Zion. She started airing all their dirty laundry on social media. And then, like none other can do, Stephen A. Smith checked in with his unrivaled response on the Zion baby mama situation. We'll play it for you next. You got to hear what Stephen A. had to say about Zion. That's coming your way. Then a soup du jour, and then Dieter Kurtenbach at the top of the hour at 6 o'clock. Tolbert and Coates, the sports leader.
Hey everybody, Mr. T here for Alex Kugelman and the Kugelman Law Team. In case you haven't heard, the IRS is receiving billions of dollars to increase enforcements and audits of individuals and small business owners. I did not know that. I let my subscription to IRS monthly lapse, so I was in the dark. But if you're having tax issues, then you better believe they're going to put that money to use, and they're going to be coming to get their cash. You don't want to be the person that's afraid to answer the door. Is that the IRS? The phone? Go to the mailbox because you know something's coming, because the IRS doesn't forget. If you have any tax issues whatsoever, even major tax problems, give Alex Kugelman a call. Schedule consultation. He will give you a clear, concise plan, like a blueprint. Like you don't know what you're doing. He knows what he's doing. This is what he does. You can contact him at sftaxteam.com or just Google Kugelman, Kugelman. That's Kugelman Law, your tax and crypto attorneys. Alexander Kugelman, managing attorney, 21 Tamil Vista Boulevard, Suite 202, Corte Madera, California, 94925. This paid endorsement does not constitute a guarantee or prediction of results.
Excuse me, Flo?
It's that time of day.
What is the soup du jour?
It's the soup of the day.
Tolbert and Cope's Soup du Jour.
That sounds good. I'll have that.
All right. I saw this yesterday. We talked a little bit about the Zion Williamson thing, and I don't care what goes on in anybody's personal life, except that this was a crazy story on Twitter yesterday. Zion Williamson announces he's having a baby with his girlfriend, who then it comes out, by the way, that she was, I guess, a former stripper or dancer, I don't know, exotic dancer, just like the exotic chicken strips that Andy Reid was eating. OnlyFans purveyor. Mariah Mills, then the adult film star, comes out on social media, on Twitter, and she's like, "Oh, congrats, Zion. You weren't talking about having a baby with this woman when you, quote, were spitting in my mouth last week," was the tweet she put out. And then a bunch of pretty gnarly screenshots. It's all on social media. The Stephen A. Smith, you guys know I love just a one-off take from him that's funny. He says some funny stuff. This one, he's got a podcast, like 2.5 minutes of just gold here. Did not know where he was going to go on the Zion situation, and just enjoy Stephen A. because it made me laugh out loud, made Derek laugh. All the guys here at the station thought it was pretty funny. Here's Stephen A.
Apparently, a girl by the name of Mariah Mills is all over the internet and calling him out by name, attaching his name to stuff, and giving vivid details of their encounters with one another. She's a porn star. Now, y'all gonna sit up there and say, damn, where's Stephen A. going with this? Where am I going? Are you ready for this? I'm kind of pissed. Kind of pissed off. Because all I can think about is, man, you only played 29 games last year. And you missed the season before that. And I've been wondering what the hell is taking you so long to get healthy. Well, now I know. I mean, forget all this stuff. That's his personal business. She put it out there. It's a damn shame. My advice to you youngins out there, you can't always police what your partner's going to do. What's going to be publicized, what's not going to be publicized. You got to cancel them immediately if they're willing to betray your trust like that. I know I would. Second order of business is that chances are if you mess with a porn star, it's going to be public. I don't call Jimmy Garoppolo porn star Jimmy for nothing. The man went to a damn restaurant in Melrose. Right there at Beverly Hills. With the porn star. Clearly you wanted everybody to know you porn star Jimmy. Porn star Zion doesn't exactly ring the same way as porn star Jimmy. But that porn star didn't talk about Garoppolo the way this one is talking about Zion. And I'm not going to repeat what she said. It's not appropriate, even for YouTube. I'm not doing it. I'm just not. Because I don't care. You're young, you're not married, you can do what you want to do. With whomever you choose. It's your business. It's a damn shame she's putting your stuff out like that. You need to cancel her. But there's a bigger issue here. I mean, she's a porn star. One would surmise she's kind of an expert at whatever it is she does. And, I've been waiting for the leg injury to cure to heal, Zion. I've been waiting for a while. She's been waiting for a while. New Orleans has been waiting for a while. I mean, we've been waiting, man. I'm not going to get into all of this. I'm just going to say, yo, man, when you going to play? I mean, damn, bro. No wonder you ain't healthy.
Basically, Stephen A. didn't have anything to say, except, damn, she's a porn star. That was his entire take. He tried to go deep on it, didn't really have much to say. Tried to go leg injury, didn't have much to say. He just needed, and this is my thing, that was almost too much. You really need like 45. You really need like 45 seconds of Stephen A. And if he tries to milk it, sometimes he didn't have anything. And I think frequently he doesn't have a whole lot.
I know.
Just to extrapolate. This is a ball star. But once he referenced Jimmy G, I knew we had to go. I knew we had to play it.
It was one of those innings where the manager just left him in and said, "Look, you need to eat some innings." Just
yeah,
get in there.
you're just gonna taking your whip into
what does a you want some breaking news? Jose Ramirez just hit his 3rd home run of the game. So there you go.
She's a porn star.
That's 3 home runs. Back to what is having somebody spit in your mouth do with healing your leg or not how does that set you back? How does that set back a broken leg?
Based on wilt logic, that should help you be better at basketball.
Yo, man, you can't have somebody spit in your damn mouth. That's one of the worst things you could do. What you got? Is it the tibia? Fibula? Oh no, man, you can't. I did that one time. I had a broken fibula, and I was almost healed. Had some girl spit in my mouth, and
sent me back 3 weeks.
Sent me back 3 months. It was unbelievable. You just can't do that.
I don't call Jimmy
What does that have to do with one? You've only played 29 games, so don't have people spit in your mouth and don't mess with porn stars. I did that. You're absolutely right.
He wanted to take it. He didn't have to take it. So
it was a topic that he thought there was going to be more meat there. No pun intended.
He took the bite. He's like, "There's nothing else here."
Yeah, he thought okay, there's got to be something here I can get into, and then he got into it, and then once he was into it, he realized he didn't have anywhere to go with it. So it's just like a bunch of running out of breath.
He teed himself up too. He teed himself up. He goes, "Everybody's asking me. I wonder where Stephen A. is going to go. Where am I going to go?
Where am I going to go?
I'll tell you where I'm going to go. I'm pissed off." I was like, "Are you really pissed off? Because you're not really a New Orleans Pelicans fan. We all want to see Zion play more, but this had nothing.
She's a porn star."
Anyway, pretty funny soundbite there for Stephen A. on in a ridiculous
because
story
I don't care
for Zion Williamson. Do you got any soup for us? Want to dive in?
I do not have any soup for you. There was one I had. Let me look it up real quick. I just wanted to see if it was the headline. I thought I was going to give you. Let's see.
Well, we should remind you then tomorrow, while Tom's looking for some story about a crank or something, that I'm looking at my stack here, and there's 4 in a row. Where I'm like, seriously? We'll be on the patio tomorrow. Giants and the Cubs, 7:15 first pitch. We'll be on the patio starting at 2 o'clock. Taking you all the way up until the Giants and the Cubs get going. It'll be Disclafani tomorrow against Marcus Stroman. Coming out, say what's up. Austin Slater is going to come by the patio with us. Dave Fleming. We'll catch up with Book Shambi. He's going to call the game for the Cubs. Should be a fun day out on the patio. Marcus Thompson and Jeremy Affeld as well.
Exotic chicken fingers.
Exotic chicken fingers as well, yeah. Did you find your story?
Well, I kind of figured since we were doing the extended soiree. Oh my God! Now this is one I need to get into here. I need to get into this because it says the headline is "Big Penis USA Pills."
Oh, dude!
Pose serious risk. Government health alert. And I was like, wait a minute. There's actual pills called Big Penis USA.
And you know what's up? Exactly. You know what?
He just wanted to play the sound. That's all he wanted to get to.
I just like that it says Big Penis USA pills pose serious risk. And I was like, you're damn right they do. On the other side, we'll tell you how serious of a risk, and then we'll hand it over to Dieter Kurtenbach. It's Tolford and Copes on the Sports Leader. ESPN writer Nick Wagner joined Murph and Mack yesterday and discussed whether or not the 49ers could move on from Deebo Samuel in the near future. That story and more is trending on the all-new KNBR app.
Hey everybody, Mr. T here for Xfinity. Everything changing so fast these days, right? You get it, and like a month later, it's out of style. One thing that can't be out of style, your Wi-Fi. You always got to keep up to date with your Wi-Fi. That's what Xfinity is there for. 10G. That's right, the Xfinity 10G network. That means more speed, more reliability, more power. And summer's here. You get kids in the house, you got more devices. You don't have to worry about it with the power of 10G. So take advantage of this limited time offer now through June 21st. New customers can get 200 megabit internet on the next generation Xfinity 10G network for just $25 a month for 2 years. Plus, there's no annual contract required, and you get Wi-Fi equipment included. All you have to do is go to Xfinity.com/10G, call 1-800-XFINITY, or if you're out and about, visit an Xfinity store today. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with store bank account. Restrictions apply. Taxes, fees, extra after promo, regular rates apply. Actual speeds vary. Love sports, you love high def. You love incredibly fast, incredibly reliable, incredibly powerful Wi-Fi. You will love Xfinity. All right, time to get on out of here. But before we do, we say hello to Dieter Kurtenbach, who'll be taking you right up until 10 o'clock Tonight? What's going on, Dieter?
Yeah, K-Bach till 10.
I'm basking in the glory of that Giants win, guys. I mean, what an afternoon. Sit out on the porch, watch the game.
What about your Sox, though? Are they?
They're awful.
Are they grabbing Game 2 against the Yanks, though?
I can't even watch them. They're so bad. They're so disappointing. They're so bad that I want to drop every member of the White Sox I have on my fantasy team. I don't want them anything. I don't want anything to do with them.
I dropped Lance Lynn last week, actually. Funny you mentioned that.
Well, I can't believe he was still on your team.
He was like sitting on my bench. I wasn't even playing him. I was like, I see if he'll right the ship. I did drop him and Alek Manoah. How about him from the Blue Jays? They optioned him.
Playing rookie ball these days.
It's crazy.
That's how you know you really made it. They can't even send you to Buffalo. They got to send you all the way down to Dundee to do some rookie ball in the
work
Florida.
for Roy Halladay, so.
Yeah, well, I'm sure that this guy is Roy Halladay. I know he had a nice year last year, but Roy Halladay is one of the great modern pitchers of our era. I don't know, man. I feel like this Giants series against Colorado, it feels like one of those really big series we'll look back on in the not too distant future if this team turns into something. That's maybe it's just recency bias. What did you guys take of it?
Well, I think. For me, anyway, the whole feel of the season changed when Schmidt and Bailey came up.
Totally.
It just had a different vibe, different feel, different energy, and it wasn't like they were, blowing teams away at that point, but they were playing good ball, and you could kind of see, like, okay, these are guys that are going to be here, and these are youthful guys, and they're really good defensive players. Like Bailey is a premium defensive catcher. Schmidt's a premium defensive wherever you want to put it. Like they make your team better, and then they were hitting on top of that. So that's where it changed for me. They've been playing better ball, and now that everybody's healthy, you look at a lineup that maybe doesn't have any spot in it where you're afraid, like you don't want to have to deal with that spot, but they also don't have a spot in it where you say, if we can get to that spot, we're going to be good. But I don't know. For me, the whole feel has changed since those guys came up.
Got some youthful energy. I mean, if you don't have any stars, you need to manufacture some positivity. And Lamont Wade has had an awesome year. Tyro Estrada's had an awesome year. Like, there are guys on this team that are having really good, solid, professional campaigns, but no one's buying tickets to go see Lamont Wade take 8 pitches in an at-bat, even though he should be an all-star when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
I mean, Copes, you hold yourself to a higher standard than most. I'm not sure
he's putting together some good at bats, man. He's really got control of the zone.
He's awesome. I mean, listen, everyone loves to go watch a guy control the zone at the old ballpark, but when you have a guy like Schmidt who was just up there. What's the equivalent of chucking for hitters? Just going up there like, there is no way I'm walking today.
He's athletic. Like, even today, he jumped at a ball that, like, Jurickson Profar hit a line drive over his head. You saw that one when he kind of put glove on it, and he was playing, like, sort of behind second base, and he almost got to it. But even when he, like, fell to the ground, I was like, damn, that guy looks tight.
And then you get Bailey, and Tom, you're totally right. Like, is there anything this town loves more than, like, a really competent catcher? Like, I know Buster Posey sort of broke the mold on that one, but it feels like this was built into the DNA of the Bay Area, where it's like, we just love catchers, just guys who can call a great game, give us some good at-bats like that. That makes us really happy. That's some, like, real down-low, dirty baseball guy stuff right there.
No doubt about it. And again, it's fun to watch these guys, and they got a real good chance here, because I've been watching the Cubs the last couple nights against the Angels, and their bullpen stinks. They got a okay lineup. They're missing Bellinger out in the center, who got off to a decent start, and then Justin Steele, their lefty. They're going to miss him because he's not coming back, I don't think, for another week or so, but they will catch Stroman. But this is a very, very mediocre would be kind team, and if you get to the bullpen, they can do some work. So they get a real nice chance to string 2 really, really nice series together and kind of get themselves going on the upward trajectory before they hit the road again next week.
They go to St. Louis and San Diego. Is that right? Are those the next 2 road
disappointment
series?
Seems logical.
Well, I mean,
they're right next to each other.
Yeah, right. Go to Colorado.
A lot of direct Southwest
Go to Colorado,
flights.
then come back to play the Cubs, then go out to St. Louis, and then I think it's St. Louis, then San Diego, then they're back home. But
well, at least you get nothing but bad teams on that road trip. My goodness, both of those squads totally embarrassing. But
yeah, probably the 2 biggest underachieving teams in the National League.
I hope everyone likes watching Marcus Stroman tomorrow night. I mean, I obviously we're not hoping that he beats the Giants, but I hope he has a real nice outing, because I would love to see that dude in black and orange. I feel like it's in the stars that he comes. out west. He might come via St. Louis and San Diego first, but he comes out west from Chicago. I feel like that's the move Farhan's got to make, but we'll get into that in the next couple hours.
Yeah, Copes is on that one too.
I'm on that one. Yeah,
Stroman in the.
I want to see him in the rivalry against the Dodgers. I think he'd be a good addition. I think he'd be the guy. Yeah,
I'm fired up. Just thinking about the possibility, Copes.
What do you got going on tonight, Dieter?
We're going to talk some basketball, Danfa Valley. Heaven knows there's enough to talk about in the world of basketball right now. Jake Hutchinson's coming on because he's contractually obligated to do that every time I host from 6 to 10. Who else we got? Brian Peacock's coming on. Jeff Young's going to talk some Giants. We got a loaded guest list. I'm looking forward to it.
Ask Brian Peacock about the softball game I played against him the other night.
I'm writing it down right now.
Just make sure you ask him about that.
Softball.
Ask him about what the final score of that game was.
Whammy!
Yeah. Whammy is right.
Do you want to tease any further, Adam? Or
we'll tease
because people aren't going to find out until the 8 o'clock hour.
We'll tease Mercy Rule. How's that? We'll tease Mercy Rule. Not as bad as the team we played in the second leg of the doubleheader, where we put up 25 before they came to the plate. I had 4 at bats before the other team came up to hit.
You play in a very competitive league. Have you ever considered a promotion relegation system for your softball league?
There's some of you get some ringer teams, man. I've gone to the playoffs, and you run into some of these co-ed teams where they got a bunch of like college softball players. They'll mash you.
Yeah.
It's no fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that team you played should call the Junior Giants, get some gloves.
We ran Bobby Evans out of the league. I don't even know if those guys are still there. We played Bobby Evans' team, and that was it. I haven't seen him since we beat them like 35-0.
Couldn't build a good team there either.
Huh?
Sorry, I love Bobby. He's sitting right there.
Same pool of talent.
He brought Evan Longoria onto the softball team. That didn't work out.
Oh, come on. You got McCutcheon,
We all loved Andrew McCutcheon. I don't want to look at those numbers. I don't want the reality to strike what I have in my head about Andrew McCutcheon.
Have a good show, Dieter.
Leading off. Thanks, man.
I think the show has run its course.
Yeah, I think so too. See you, Dieter. All right, bro.
All right, let's get on out of here. Let's thank our guest today. I want to thank my friend Eric Gilsonen, who will be out the 34th straight year. Escape from Alcatraz. Saturday the Expo, Sunday the race. You want to go out there and hang out, you can do so. It'll be a good time had by all except for the people that are struggling to get to shore. I would imagine. Unless there's a shark out there, then they won't be having a good time. I wonder if that's ever happened.
They'll be struggling, but it will be for something different.
Yeah, that'll definitely put some pep in your step, I would think. Shark. Wonder if anybody's just yelled shark just for the fun of it. Don't do that. I'm just being an idiot, okay?
Yell cocaine shark
don't
if
do
you
that.
do.
Say, Tom said it. No, just don't. Yeah, don't. Basking shark. They're fine. Don't worry about those.
Barracuda. Yeah, one of those.
They're not going to bother you at all. Thank Mark Spears and thank Farhan Zaidi. Thank you very much to Derek. Great job today. Tim, well done.
Exotic chicken fingers.
I'll see everybody. Maybe we'll get some exotic chicken fingers because we're going to be out at the Public House tomorrow, getting you ready for the Cubbies and the Giants. Who do we have? We have Dave Fleming. We have
Austin Slater, Boog Shambi, Jeremy Affeld, and Marcus Thompson.
And Boog Shambi can teach me about numbers again. That'll be fantastic. I'm really looking forward to it. You don't know that story.
I don't know about that story.
Yeah, ask Tim that story. It's a good one.
We'll bury him before he comes on. It's all good. I got your back, Tom.
No, I like it.
I side with you, bro.
No, I'm just
He'll come on. I'll be like, Boog, what's the deal, man? You got a bone to pick? What's up?
No.
Why don't you come down to the patio and say something about numbers?
I'll go in the restaurant. Just hang out by myself.
Exactly, dude. All right, man.
All right, man. I will talk to you tomorrow. We're going to be out at the Public House. Come join us. Come have a beer. Get ready for the Cubs and the Giants. Up next, Dieter Kurtenbach takes you right until 10 o'clock right here on the Sports Leader. Take it away, Dirk.
Oh, my God.